Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the Boss Key podcast. I'm your co host, McQuack, alongside Jesse. Say hey. Say
See,
hi.
hey, what's going on, everybody? Episode 2.
So, thank you again for joining us for the second one. Still excited as ever, probably even more so than before. We got a couple topics, probably like one main topic today, but thank you for listening to the first one. We've heard some of your feedback. We appreciate everything in terms of any criticism, any positive, um, I guess,
Yes,
critiques that you guys may have, and just keep going through.
yes.
We're going to try also a new thing on this week's. We wanted to see if you guys like the setup of just, listening in and having a podcast there, or would you guys like to see some gameplay, which you'll be seeing right now, of
Yes.
Hades, something that I've been recently playing. It just came out
So good.
yesterday on Friday, and I had already some experience with it on the Switch last year, and I loved it, especially on the go. It had good performance. There was no performance issues. Just a roguelike, top down, hack and slash. It's pretty much about you being the son of Hades and trying to escape the underworld and getting help from Olympians, and it's the art style is so good. Do you know anything about it, Jesse?
Oh my goodness, yes. I actually picked it up on Steam. So I got the PC version, but I knew it was on the Switch before, but I was very excited for my gaming PC that I wanted to get almost everything on PC. But of course, it would have been great on the Switch too. Um, Absolutely amazing roguelike. It actually helped carve out a little bit of my Diablo feeling because I was playing a lot of Diablo 3 in the past, and this is just another one where more randomized here, all the upgrades here from you have the bow, you have the sword, you have the shield weapon, you have the knuckles. All of those are working. You won't get bored with any of them, and you will die a
Yeah,
lot.
and that's the thing
Yeah,
about
it's
these,
gonna
right?
happen.
That's the thing about these
Yes.
type of games. You learn from your deaths and you learn from your failures, and the next run you're just like, you know what? Maybe one more. Maybe I can do things differently. Maybe I can beat this boss
Exactly.
this time.
Exactly. You're gonna keep coming back again and again, and then you're gonna see Hades again in the beginning. Like, here we go again. And I would also say that the writing and the art, you mentioned the art style already, but the writing, the banter that everyone has with the Olympians, from the minions of Hades, from all the from all the servants and everyone's trying to help you for the most part, except Hades, of course. But except Lord Hades, he's not helping you get out. He wants to keep you down there. But but every single time that you go up, and you're always constantly upgrading, always
Yeah,
finding new ways, and then your weapons get upgrades as well. And then you yourself can upgrade yourself. You can make yourself tougher. You can give yourself an ability to resurrect one time when you're down there. You can give yourself uh, the ability for extra money, for extra. I forget the name of the liquid that you get for upgrading your own abilities.
was it that purple
But
that purple
yeah, I think
gem?
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
those
forgot it.
purple gems. The purple gems are what you use to upgrade yourself and get a lot of these abilities. Um, but you're gonna be kept in for story wise. You're gonna be kept in story wise as well, and you're gonna relate with everyone here. It's so great. It's awesome. I have it on PC, and now that it's been released, yesterday it was released on Xbox Game Pass. Correct?
Yeah, it's also included on Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, which is a huge get for that
Woo!
service.
Xbox people, play it. You will not be sorry. It is very, very good.
So it's $25 if you want to own it digitally. Also physical. It comes in as a physical release for $30, which
You got
is
the
not bad.
you got the PS5 one, right?
Yeah, I picked up the PS5
Nice.
edition. Even though I already had it on Switch, uh, it's just that
Nice.
good. I want it on the PlayStation. I want to see how many trophies I can get on this. I
Right.
seen the list. It looks pretty difficult, but I wouldn't have thought this game would be easy to platinum. I think I've only gotten two trophies, which is pet the your dog Cerberus 10 times, and
Nice.
also get through Tartarus. So I've already beat the first boss. Um,
Oh my God, she was tough in the beginning, wasn't she?
Meg, yeah,
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie. I had several times with Meg before I was able to get past that. My goodness, I had to level up really bad.
yeah. I actually died 3 times. I died 3 times, but the fourth battle, I got her. I beat her, and I was like, okay, this
I
is
think
this.
when I finally got the bow and arrow, that's when I finally beat her for the first time.
Well, I knew that already
The bow and arrow.
because I was playing on the Switch, and I kept using the sword, and I'm like, man, like I'm just getting clobbered with that one special that she has, and
Oh my God.
I switched over to the bow, and it was just shoot, shoot, shoot from afar, and I mean cheesed it, but I beat it. So I passed that part, so I'm on the second area, second level.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you haven't died yet again?
I died again because I got to the second level
Oh,
after beating Meg. I got to the second level, went all through to the second boss, and I died with like I don't know how much health left, like 10-20% health
oh.
left on the boss.
The
So
second boss is the multi-headed one, right?
yeah,
The multi-headed snake one.
the skeleton
Uh,
snake.
oh my God! When I got to the boss by accident the first time. I was like, "Oh man, Jesse, you got here this far. You gotta do it. You just gotta beat him. Don't die."
Yeah, this is one of
Uh,
those like it's strict. I mean, not strict gameplay, but because like you mentioned, the characters and the banter between them, which I love. Also, the voice acting here, but this is
yes.
really like 90% meat potatoes is the gameplay, and the repetitiveness. You may say like, oh, it's just you keep dying and you end up in the same spot, or you go back to the beginning. It's good. You keep getting better and better. Your runs start going from 10 levels to 20 levels to it keeps going, and you keep thinking to yourself, one more round, I can beat her this time, or I can beat the snake, and it's
Yep.
good. Super Giant Games
Yeah.
has another classic.
Ooh, they also did Bastion, correct?
I love Bastion
I just got that on Steam a couple days ago. I'm gonna play that.
for like 50 cents.
Oh,
Those Steam
well, okay.
sales.
It was cheaper, but it wasn't not 50 cents. I wish. Maybe more like 2.99 or something like that.
Okay,
And
okay.
I would say that, but I saw Bastion was on sale. Like I was looking at Steam sales yesterday and everything while I was working, and for any fighting game fans, right now is the biggest chance Evo sale, because Evo is this weekend. Evolution fighting game tournaments going on, so Steam is having a sale. So if you want to get your chance at Mortal Kombat, Tekken, or anything on the cheap, hit it up. It's right there. Bargain prices.
Good spotting. What are you
Yeah.
playing right now, Jesse?
Oh, okay. Well, I think from what I mentioned last week, I'm still playing Doom 2016 because I just can't put Doom down ever. I had to uninstall Doom Eternal just to make sure I can play other games, but I wanted to play 2016 again. And seriously, just the music and just everything that goes on in that game is just amazing. Everything is just so crunched in with the action, the well, not a super great story, but it's a story nonetheless. One not was not in Doom games before, and you just go around being a badass everywhere, and nothing gets in your way. So, Doom 2016 is what I'm still playing on evenings when I'm free of work and everything else that I do, working on uh, podcasts and everything. But I got me a list of games going on right now too that I'm going to complete after this.
Go for it. What
Um,
are they?
I'm going. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna beat Catherine. If anyone has ever played Catherine, well, specifically Catherine Classic, that's what it's called. But Catherine, dating simulator, puzzle simulator, all together, so good.
I remember when I got that game like 10 years ago, 12 years ago when it came out. I played it on the PS3 and I saw the cover and I was like, "What is this? What
You have
kind
no
of
clue what it is.
game is this?" And I didn't do any research. I was just like, "What?" I looked at the back. It was a puzzler. I'm like, "This is a puzzle game? Like, what is it?" And my friend was like, "Nah, get it. Like, just get it. Just try it out. It's like $20."
Your
And
friend was
so
just like, "Do it, just get it."
and I got it, and it started off like an anime thing, and I was like, okay, like, I mean, pretty cool, I guess. Weird still. And
Right?
after an hour, I'm like, I get what this is about, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
I love this.
Like immediately, like a few scenes in, you already have another woman. Both of these women's name are Catherine, by the way. One's spelled with a K, one's spelled with a C, and the puzzle element. I mean, in his sleep and at night, the whole sheep thing. Oh my goodness, this poor man is having death-defying dreams where he will die. If you game over, he'll be dead. The police will come in and the police will be coming into his apartment building, researching his mind. He's like, oh my goodness. So that's what I'm trying to do. And since all the announcements of Tetris Effect, I'm very hyped for Tetris Effect.
Yes.
So I started playing, Tetris Effect. You get techno, you get Tetris, you get like ambiance, you get digital animals hanging around everywhere. It looked so good.
The neon colors, especially when you like destroy 4 rows of Tetris. What are they called? Tetraminos? Tetrises? I don't know. Tetris blocks, and it is, like you said, it's good. It starts off with like a slow beat music. You know, you're level 1. It's just that, slow beats, and as you continue, as you progress, it keeps going faster and faster, and there's more stuff going around in the background. It's such an amazing game, and I'm glad that it's coming out on the Switch. It's out on the PS4 and Xbox. I didn't know it wasn't on PC. I thought it was on PC.
Not yet. It's actually getting, for PC, it's getting the earlier release. It's coming up. The PC release is coming very soon.
Okay.
I can't even look at my wish list. Hold on. Oh, it's coming out on the 18th. So actually, in 4 days, it's getting released on
that's very
Steam.
soon.
So I ended up playing. If anyone else has played, it's the Pac-Man Championship Edition Deluxe, Deluxe Plus. Now that is also, if you want to get a taste of a retro game done to that style that we just said, lighting and music and everything, get yourself that one. That will turn Pac-Man into a star-studded lighted Pac-Man. And there's so many puzzle variations, you won't get bored. It's difficult to get bored on that one.
I think that's also playable on Xbox. Just FYI, I believe it's backward compatible. So Xbox players, PC players, y'all could enjoy some Pac-Man.
Yeah. And then my final one after that is on my list, because I have to come up with a list, like my book list. Otherwise, I'm going to keep half starting everything and not complete anything. After that, I'm finally going to play I'm going to finish Resident Evil 3, the remake. I loved the Resident Evil 2 remake. I love Resident Evil 3 when it was released. But Resident Evil 3 remake, the few minutes that I did start, the new redesign of Carlos and everything was just, the new Jill and Carlos banter is awesome.
Dude, Carlos looks so like Keanu Reeves from Speed, but with like hair.
Yeah, they gave him so much more hair, and he had the short hair in the original.
Yeah,
he was the clean cut. Nah, we're going with the shaggy look. Like that's what everyone's in today. So they went with the shaggy haired look. He's got like 10 times the muscle he probably did in the other one. This is just like the Chris Redfield change they did for Resident Evil 5, where they turned him into a bodybuilder.
I mean, they gotta make it look realistic when he's gonna be punching boulders at the end. So
of course. Like, dude, we all punch boulders, right? Like we have the ability to punch boulders into
every Tuesday.
I'm constantly working out every day. I'm getting muscles as big as his, and I want to punch boulders in an active volcano, which I should melt. But it's okay. That's beyond the point. That's fine.
Yeah,
It's
Resident Evil 3
okay.
was great. Resident Evil 3 was
Dude.
great last year. I picked it up and I beat it that weekend, and it was just too good. I saw some complaints online about it was too short, or that they removed some key areas. But for me, I was having a blast. It's Resident Evil. They're not known to be long games, and
Uh,
I enjoyed you know the gameplay.
yeah.
Basically Resident Evil 2 on Resident Evil 3 um, remake. So that
Yeah.
one I really loved, and it still got me excited for the Resident Evil 4 remake that's supposedly coming out.
Oh.
I think 2022, 2023, one of those 2 years. But I mean, with Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes done, I'm fully like on board with what they're gonna be doing with 4.
That is going to be a hard sell, man. Resident Evil 4 was very, very good. Like, they're going to want to expect pristine perfection on 4.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
it's up there with my
that's hard.
it's up there with one of my favorite games of all time. Like I
Yup.
played it almost on every single console, and I don't know if it'll be a 1-to-1 because so far they really haven't done that with 2 and 3. But
Mm.
I just want them to keep the campiness if possible.
It's it's definitely going to be. Well, obviously, I think every game coming out now is going to be next gen. It's going to be PS5 and it's going to be Xbox Series
Yeah,
X and PC game. But wow, this is Resident Evil 4 is going to be a really big undertaking. I'm still playing Resident Evil 4 on my PS4. I bought the HD edition there,
nice.
and it's going to be. Oh man, I'm just saying, Capcom, good luck. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for hotness. I'm praying for good. I want it to be fantastic. But I got a feeling that any little minuscule thing that is changed is gonna bring like a hardcore it's gonna bring not say a backlash altogether, but it's a tough one to sell. They better at least match it, like something just as good but revamped,
Yeah,
because they can just do that. I think they could just do that, like remastering. And then Resident Evil 2, when they remastered that, when they first announced it, Resident Evil 4 combined with Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 2 remake worked really well. So scary. And my last point on the Resident Evil 3, I think people didn't like it much because a lot of people, at least the complaints that I've heard, they felt it was like a more like Resident Evil 2 DLC.
I
They
heard
felt it
that
was
too.
kind of soon. They felt it was kind of soon because they literally announced it right after. Like it was already like, wow, like strike while the iron's hot. We
Yeah,
already got the graphic engine going. Let's just keep it going.
yeah,
At least that's my opinion on that. That's what I think happened to Resident Evil 3.
yeah.
But
It could
it's
be it
still
could be multiple things, but at the
yeah,
end, I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was one of my favorite games I played last year. And that's
nice,
ultimately
nice.
what counts. What matters is how you feel about the game at the end of the day, and not the majority of
Of
people.
course, like
Um,
everything we play, everything we do, everything we have is our of course opinions. Everyone has opinions on their games, what they
yeah,
like and don't like, but the true determinant is you. You will determine if you like the game or not. You can see all the opinions, you can see everything about it, but I would really say if you really, really have been looking at it, I'd say give it a shot. It don't hurt to give it a shot.
and you know what? Talking also about what we were playing last week when you mentioned Metroid.
Yes.
I'll blame you,
Oh
partially,
no, no, me, dude, no.
but
Don't look at me.
I really wanted to play Metroid again, and
Ooh.
I picked it up. You may have seen it. I picked it up this week. I picked up a copy of Metroid Prime 2,
Yeah,
and
you
I
did.
was so excited.
I saw that.
I picked it up, complete in box, and my fiance was all like, "Oh, you're gonna play that?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm right there looking for my GameCube. Found my GameCube, found my controller, found everything, hooked it up. Put up the lights in the background just to give that immersion."
You
And
went the full ambiance.
Yeah, and while I was setting things up, she was asking me, she was like, "So have you ever beaten this game?" And I'm like, "No." There's a couple stories to this that I was like that pertain to this one title. Metroid Prime 2
Uh,
is a game that I played as a kid for the first time with my
mhm.
uncle, who introduced me into video games. And
Nice.
I was playing it, and we both were playing it, and we both got stuck on a game breaking glitch. That
A game-breaking glitch.
Yeah, there's a game breaking glitch in Metroid Prime 2 that we didn't know about until we had to look it up. And I guess it's right before, I believe, or right before or right after you get the power bomb. I believe it's right before, where you can't get out of a specific area because you need the power bomb. But if you get in that specific area, you can't get out. It's a weird glitch that we didn't know until afterwards, so we let the game go. Like, we stopped playing just because I'm like, man, I put like
Oh.
25 hours, 20 hours into it, and to start over, I was like, yeah, I'm good. Um,
You're like, nope, no, thank you. I'm not doing this again. Put the controller down.
yeah, it's not a good feeling. I don't know if you've ever had that, but to have your game either corrupt or game breaking glitch where you can no longer continue, that it's
Oh,
heartbreaking. I've had that before with like Fallout, where I hadn't
oh
saved
man.
for like maybe 2 hours, and I hit a game breaking glitch where I can't get out, and I go back and it's like, oh, I have to redo the two. Even if it's 2 hours, I'm just like, I had a good run. I didn't die.
And then 2 hours you went through it. Two hours is precious. That's a lot of game time.
Yeah.
That is a lot of time to just have like disappear. Like my worst fear of that. I have not had. I don't feel like a game breaking glitch that ruined a file, but for anyone who lived during the memory card era, nothing pissed me off more than a corrupted save file. And
Ooh.
now you can't get it back. And you
Yeah.
cannot continue again. And guess what? You gotta delete it. And you gotta start all over again.
No cloud saves before.
No. It was all little tiny PlayStation memory cards and memory cards on the N64, which some games needed a memory card and some games didn't because it's saved in the cartridge. Well, why in the world do I need another memory card for a cartridge game? Why do I need the back memory card? that was a thing back then.
Yeah, memory cards were no joke. You bought a PlayStation 1, and if you didn't have a memory card and you're playing like, well, pretty much anything, but if you're playing like Final Fantasy or some type of RPG, it's like you're wasting your time. You're not going to be able to beat it.
Hope you got 40, 50 hours straight to try to do it.
And or leave it on.
Yep, you gotta leave the console on. You gotta take multiple breaks. You're gonna siphon in some power. It's, memory card. Thank goodness for cloud saves. I'm very thankful for cloud saves and instant saves. I'm sorry. I just am.
We're pretty spoiled when it comes to like modern gaming with cloud saves and backups and cheats and
Yes.
stuff like that. It wasn't like that
No.
before.
No. You gotta beat it once, or we beat it once, or you never beat it. Well, at least in the case of some Super Nintendo games or Nintendo games, and Super Nintendo, Nintendo, and Genesis, all the 16-bit games,
Yeah.
64-bit, 32-bit era, memory cards were coming in, so you got to pay for like the luxury of saving your game, or have your pen and paper handy because some games have like 25 character passwords you can put in. So write that down. You gotta write all that down.
Yeah. Speaking of like those old school games, like do you have like for Sega Genesis that you mentioned? Do you have a favorite Sega Genesis game?
Oh my goodness, Sega Genesis. You know, when you brought this, when you kind of mentioned that a little earlier, there's Sega Genesis. When you brought that in the past during the week, the moment you said Sega Genesis, only one. Of course, everyone's going to talk about Sonic 2, and everyone's going to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There's Vector Man, but there's one game that that I'll always remember from the Sega Genesis, and that game is called Quackshot, starring Donald Duck.
Quackshot?
Have you ever played that?
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it? Yes, it is a super hyper tiny little game that came out back in 1991. It was my first. It was one of my two first games that I got for the Genesis, because when we bought it, it came with two games. It came with Quackshot, and it came with Sonic the Hedgehog. But basically, every single Genesis came with Sonic the Hedgehog. So Quackshot is the game that I love the most. It's the first thing that comes up in my head when I'm thinking about Sega Genesis. It is a platformer that stars Donald Duck. Back when Disney licensed games were pretty darn good a lot of the time. It's about Donald Duck traveling all over the world in different locations, such as like Mexico, Egypt, Transylvania, South Pole, India, Viking ships. And the way you get around is Huey, Dewey, and Louie would be calling a plane. No, you would call the plane, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie would be piloting the plane, taking you to all these locations. And it is a game where you are going around, you are seeking the treasure of King Garuzia. He is the king of a long-lost treasure that you are seeking. You have a map, and you're going around the world to collect different little items to get you closer and closer to that treasure. And all you're armed with is a plunger gun, which you upgrade later so you can stick it on walls, and then you can climb higher areas with that wall. It changes colors to red and to green to show the different upgrades. You also have a popcorn gun that is basically the shotgun, just gets rid of enemies there. And then you also have a bubblegum gun that can make certain walls disappear. It is something that it is near and dear to my heart because it was one of the first games that I had. And if I wasn't playing Sonic the Hedgehog, I was playing this. And I was watching a long play yesterday to see everything. And oh my gosh, the nostalgia just came right back. Even my mom said that the moment she heard like the music, she was like, "Oh, I remember this game so much when you were a kid."
That's awesome.
When she recognizes the theme song of your game and what you're doing, and you're walking around like this game had everything. It had like a horror. The Transylvania and the Mexico levels were my favorite. Like you go into like Aztec temples and you face Dracula in Transylvania, a duck Dracula, but it's a Dracula nonetheless. And it is one of those like, yes, you're not going to find it on any collection or anything, but it's one of those really rare gems that is. I looked it up on Amazon yesterday as well. It's $30 if you want the cartridge for Genesis, but it hasn't been re-released on any collection. But hey, Switch, Nintendo, I'm telling you, I will spend money on this if you put it out. Just saying, Nintendo hears this podcast somehow. I will get it. I will buy it just to relive that remastered edition or something. But yeah, it's one of those obscure games that had a memory dear in my heart. Man, that Genesis was awesome.
I love that system. Like my favorite game on there, you probably have heard of it too. It was like a small game called Aladdin.
Oh, Genesis Aladdin, so
yes,
good.
and I didn't know that there was like a comparison or like a difference between the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, but there is. But I grew up with the Sega Genesis one, and that was like one of the first games my parents ever bought me. It was Aladdin, and it was based off of one of my favorite movies growing up was Aladdin. So that game, and I was so happy that fortunately mine got a re-release. I think 2 years ago.
Of course, yours did.
2 years ago with Aladdin and Lion King, but that one is my favorite Sega Genesis game. Just the music that took me back to the actual movie, and the enemies, the platforming. It was really hard too. There was like a section where you're trying to escape from that Cave of Wonders, and it's all lava, and it's pretty much like almost like Battletoads, where that sewer level where you're trying to like, you either go up, down, or stay in the middle because you're about to get hit by like a rock, a flaming rock, and you only have like a certain amount of tries to do it, and that level was so difficult. But as a kid, I got all the way to Jafar and died, and so I still haven't beaten the game that's on there for me, like that I want to do. But that's one of my favorite Sega Genesis games of all time is Aladdin, and it's based off of a license, which is crazy. But I love Aladdin. That was one that's like right up there with like Sonic 2, like you say, like everybody's gonna say Sonic, or a majority of people will say Sonic. Some people will say Alex the Kid. Maybe even Road Rash, if you ever played Road Rash. But
I didn't, but I heard good things.
Road Rash was awesome. But yeah, Aladdin for me is my childhood favorite Sega Genesis game of all time, and anybody can pick it up now. I think it's on PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch. Highly recommend it. Very difficult, but it's such a great platformer.
I'm gonna start petitioning Quackshot to come out. I'm gonna start a hashtag.
I'm gonna look it up because I love talking about these. And if I've never heard of a game, that's very rare.
It is. See, look at that. I got a little treasure trove of games too, man. I know some classics. I know some OGs. I know some original. I know some original games that they flew under. They just flew under the radar. And I also love. You know how interesting it was that we both picked a Disney game as our favorite Sega Genesis game?
Oh, you're right.
We both have a Disney licensed game. Disney. See, Disney. You had a thing back then. It was going hot back then.
It was that game.
Yeah, dude, Disney. What are you doing? Like, get back into something like this. This was licensing games at its glory. And I played the Super Nintendo Aladdin more because I had that's the one I had. And what I was thinking, the only thing I was thinking there was, where's my sword? He doesn't have a sword in the Super Nintendo one.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, he does not. It's just a straight platformer.
Oh, wow. No wonder there's a huge difference in why the Sega Genesis is better, of course.
Yeah. What? It's better? I don't know, man. I don't know. I need to play both again. I need to compare that again. But yeah, we both picked Disney games, so there you go. If you thought we were gonna say any of the other usual Sega Genesis culprits, we got some different ones.
And you know what's crazy is that before there were differences between the games.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like today, PlayStation and Xbox, they can get a game, and the difference would be like, oh well, this looks nicer, or this plays a lot smoother with the frame rate, or whatever it may be. But before, when they had to make a game and they put it for both systems, you may get two completely different games, or there'll be like one subtle difference that makes it or breaks it for that version. Like, like you said, Aladdin, I don't know if it makes it or breaks it yet, because I haven't played the Super Nintendo one, but you said that it doesn't have a sword. I didn't know that. The Sega Genesis has a sword, and you can throw apples.
Oh, I can throw apples. They kept that. they kept the apple throwing. They didn't sword play. No, I'm gonna have again, not confirmed. I'm gonna have a sneaking suspicion. It might have to do something with like Nintendo doesn't want swords, something like that. Just saying, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think Aladdin had swords, but the palace guards did. They had swords.
They always did. Oh yeah, all the villains had their swords and everything. But just Aladdin did. That was just it just ended up being well, they're both platformers, but I think it was just more. I think it was just more platformer focused on Nintendo at the time. Okay, But whatever the decision was, both games were received pretty well. So to each his own.
Yeah, and then also like with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was completely different on Super Nintendo than it was for Sega Genesis. The blood,
Yes, a blood code only on Sega Genesis.
yeah, wasn't it green on Super Nintendo or something like that?
No, it was gray because it was sweat. So, both fighters are profusely sweating in this fight. So I'm punching the sweat out of you in the Super Nintendo one.
That's
Oh
what
my
it was. I
gosh!
remember there was a difference. I just didn't know which one because I was on Sega Genesis, and
Yeah, Sega Genesis had the blood code that you had to put in, which is why it ended up being a higher seller compared to the Super Nintendo one.
that makes sense. Yeah,
I
I
lived
mean
sales at the time.
subtle differences within several games that before Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. That's when you got key differences. We don't really get that much or that many games that have differences. I think the most
Yeah.
notable one, from what I remember, which I know is Soul Calibur 2.
Oh, the version exclusive characters was awesome then.
Yes, I mean they did. I think they did have it for Soul Calibur 3
Well,
with
it had they had
Yoda
it.
or Darth
That
Vader.
was
Am I mistaken?
no, you are correct. But that was actually Soul Calibur 4.
Okay, Soul Calibur 4.
3, 3 was a PS2 exclusive.
Oh,
So they only released it on PS2 at the time. So, and the GameCube one, of course, of Soul Calibur 2 was the highest selling one because of Link. Link was the highest selling of all the DLC characters. Not many people were very excited for Heihachi, and not many people were excited for Spawn on the Xbox One.
nah, I was all in for Link. I was all. That's the only reason why I got Soul Calibur 2, and to this day is really the only game I really played it. I think I played a little bit against you in Soul Calibur 5,
Oh yes,
just to try out Geralt from The Witcher,
there you
but
go.
Link was really the only reason why I bought Soul Calibur 2 and why I bought it for the GameCube is because of Link and being able to upgrade him and give him different stuff. That game was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not really like a big fighting game person, but Soul Calibur 2, I spent weekends on that one.
Yes, unlocking everything and just playing everything over and over again. That was a fighting game dream right there. Like versus matches, versus matches all the time on Soul Calibur was fast and frantic and fun. It was all the characters in it. But again, the system sellers are the system sellers, and that's the reason why I ended up getting Soul Calibur 4 as well. Besides being a Soul Calibur fan, Darth Vader and Yoda. But basically, if you picked Yoda, it was a bit cheating because he's tiny and he has a tiny hitbox, so he's hard to hit. But fortunately, thank goodness for the world of DLC. By the time this was coming out on 360 and PS3, downloadable content made Darth Vader possible in the Xbox version.
Oh, I didn't
Because
know
back then they were exclusive, but eventually they just released the other characters on the other consoles as DLC.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't know that they did that. I thought it was like they were locked always to the console that they were released for. But I'm glad at least for Soul Calibur 5, there's no console exclusive character. Everybody gets to play,
Oh yeah,
everyone as they can.
yep. Everyone gets everyone. That is absolutely fine. Keep it. That is actually much more. That is much more preferred. Less competition. Sell as many as we can because, as we know, exclusive DLCs, additional system sellers for certain systems, but also you're gonna alienate and piss off a lot of fans if you do that often.
Yeah, which reminds me still as we're talking about fighting games, there's a specific, I guess, movement going on that I wanted to talk about, and I know you know more about this for the fighting game community, which is Marvel versus Capcom 2 possibly
Oh,
getting a revival.
Oh my goodness! Please, please come
So
back to this
so
game.
what's going on? What's the news on this one?
Okay, so for all the fighting game fans around the world, they will absolutely most likely know what Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is. All the catchphrases that existed back then. It's Marvel, baby, and a lot of different areas about fighting games or competitive fighting games. You will come back to this game. It was amazing at its time. It had the biggest character select screen of all time when you first see it in the arcades. So many options, and it's so crazy good. Now, if you get into a competitive level, there's you'll realize there are certain characters that are better than others. They'll have certain strategies and certain. You'll see the same characters over and over again if you go into the competitive level. But if we're playing it all together, like if you and me were playing as casual players, there's so many options. It's beautiful. So the petition. Have you yourself played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 before?
Yeah, I played it, years ago as a kid. I remember playing whenever I had quarters, I would go to this burger joint across the street from my grandma's, and I would
Oh,
I would probably save like a good $2 to $3 in quarters,
now
and
did
I would just continue playing. My cousins would save up their money, and we'd play against each other. And it was that was one of our favorite games to play too. Was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and it
were you not
wasn't.
amazed at how many characters there were in that select screen?
I didn't care. All I cared was Spider Man and Venom was they were in it, and that's all I used. That's all I cared about. Marvel was I used
Marvel was the big thing.
I used Spider Man, Venom, and I think Ryu. Those are my three mains, and that's all I cared about. And I loved the art style. I love how
Okay.
they made Spidey look. Like just the webhead. That's how I see that version of Spider Man. And what would he say? What did he say? Like web shot or web blast or something like that.
Oh, if there's web throw and then web swing.
There you go. Like those cues was just
Yeah.
like it was so cool. And I remember when I got my PS3 in
Yeah.
2010, the first game I bought was that. I saw that it was on there for $10, and I was like, for
PS3,
ten
you said?
dollars, PS3.
You said PS3 or PS? Oh! You got the digital one, right?
Yeah, and I still own it to this day, the digital version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I played
Oh,
for hours on the PS3.
awesome! That is amazing that you have a copy of it. You know what you should do? You better hold on to that PS3 version for dear life.
Dude, I've had that PS3 since day one. Never owned another one, and that's been in
Mm-hmm.
my system. Like I changed the internal hard drive, uh, like maybe 2 years after.
Mm-hmm.
But I still downloaded Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I suck at that game, but I love it still. I love the music. I love the characters.
Jazzy music, nice.
Yes, the flashiness. I'm like sometimes I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know what the hell I did or what to press, but that looked like it ripped that dude to shreds. And
So,
yeah, I love that game as much as little as I know about it and the combat mechanics and stuff like that. I also can appreciate that game for what it was and what it is today still.
see, like coming from like somebody who doesn't play like fighting games super often or anything, that's what excites you about it. That's the appeal of it. That's like the awesomeness that this game had an effect on. And the reason I said before you better hold on to that game tight is because since I believe 2013, 2014, Capcom lost the license to the Marvel characters, so it got pulled from every single store. So you cannot buy it. You cannot get a digital version of this game unless you buy an Xbox or a PlayStation 3 that has it already. And if you want a physical copy, good luck. You are going to spend $200 plus on a physical copy for a Dreamcast or a PS2, the even more rare one. So it's ridiculously expensive to get into. It's not available everywhere. And just recently, a company known as Digital Eclipse, they are what they said is going to be in a funded situation, which they raised $6 million in a limited amount of time. And a lot of this information that I'm getting, I found from Maximilian. He's one of the great fighting game YouTubers that I've watched a lot. And Marvel vs. Capcom 2 kind of struck me with a chord of something that interests me, is like your memories and my memories of it. I played that since the Dreamcast era. So Digital Eclipse is asking people, what do they want to see revival? And right now, this whole hashtag free MVC2, a digital downloaded version of this game for PS5, Xbox Series X, and for PC. Release it! You're gonna have, people want this game. It is it's a fighting game that everyone could get into. Whether you love the mechanics or the music or anything, everyone can get into. No, you're not gonna fight Justin Wong. You're not gonna fight the best player in the world, because he'll do you in he'll complete you in several moves. But you yourself will have fun with a bunch of friends. Even the actor Michael B. Jordan wants a PS5 version of MVC2.
Yeah, I saw that.
An actor wants this game. So what does that say? So right now the hashtag free MVC2 is out there. So many characters, so much fun. I would tell you to get it, but I don't want you to break the bank either. It's hard. And I know there's ways to get it, like through emulation, and I know there's many different other methods, or to do a Fightcade. But I would really like to see a release for this, for kids, nostalgia, for everyone to have a chance at it. And it's the thing. We want it to be free, because since 2014, they since I mentioned earlier, they lost the license. Oh, sorry, we no longer can release this game. And then several years later, another fighting game called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out, which, unfortunately, because they lost a license, and then this is at the time when the Marvel Cinematic Universe was starting to come into Disney, and the Disney was starting to make it more popular, that game was very Infinity Stone and all the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters mostly, and they couldn't use X-Men characters because they were under Fox at the time. So it really divided a lot of people, because some of the best characters in the game were some of the X-Men: Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm. The mutants were some of the best characters in that, Magneto. And they had to take them out because, hey, they're not part of our Disney one, so we got to include the Infinity Stones because the movies are coming out. And now, don't get me wrong, I love those movies. I'm a huge Marvel movie fan, but you kind of changed in the gameplay there. So you're changing the game atmosphere. So free MVC2, Digital Eclipse, please make it happen. I will buy it on PC, Switch, PS5 when I eventually get one, and or PS4 if you release it then. It is oodles of fun all the time. And as a big fighting game fan myself, and then for yourself that wasn't as big of a fighting game fan, but you have memories, and that tells me the impact this game had.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's you can be not into that community. You can be not even your favorite genre, but you can see the impact. You can enjoy what it was or what it is, and still want it. Somebody can, and I've heard a lot of the times that it's people outside of the community, the hardcore crowd, that buy into these fighting games because they see the cover or they see the gameplay. They're like, yeah, that looks cool, and they move away from it, but at least they still have that there. Like I picked up. I remember picking up Dragon Ball FighterZ at launch. I paid $60 for it. I rarely do this for a fighting game. I rarely buy a fighting game there because I know eventually they'll come out with a $20 game of the year, or you get all the fighter passes and stuff like that for $20. But
Mortal Kombat Ultimate.
Yes. But which I actually did get that one. I think it was called it is the Ultimate Edition. I thought it was the complete edition with like the K, but I did buy the Ultimate Edition for $20 on PS5. But Like
Nice.
Dragon Ball Z, I saw the gameplay. I resonate with the anime, and that's where it gets me. And I'm like, I want to be like that. I want to be pulling off combos with Vegeta or Teen Gohan and stuff like that. And I played it for like maybe a week. I played it for a solid week, and I'm like, yeah, I suck, but I loved my time with it. I love the busting the combos and stuff like that, and I think that's what a lot of people like with Marvel versus Capcom 2 specifically, because it has so many different characters from both sides. From Marvel side with the, like you said, the X-Men, with actual, other, Spider-Man, and I had Iron Man, and it had War Machine, right?
Yes, it did. Had both Iron Man and War Machine,
Yeah,
and
it
they
had,
both played completely differently from me.
yeah,
They both had some different aspects. Yep.
Yeah, they had, so I think they also had Rogue, or no?
Yes, they did. Yes, it did.
See, and I'm
Rogue
not a
was in it.
huge guy. I'm not a huge fighting game fan, but I remember my cousins picking Rogue because he was all into X Men. That
Such a great cartoon
Rogue
back
was one
then.
of his favorite characters, and
Na-na-na-na-na-na. Such a great cartoon back then.
but it's like you said, it's one of those that made an impact, regardless of whether the fighting genre was for you or not. You had a character there, even if you were into just Capcom and you got into Ryu, and wasn't there the guy from Strider?
Oh
And
yeah, there you go. Strider Hiryu. You can
yeah,
play as Captain Commando. There's Mega Man and Roll and Servbot if you really wanted to play Servbot.
were the
There's also,
were the Resident Evil characters in that one, or did they appear?
oh yeah, Joe Valentine.
Jill Valentine, right? I knew there was a Resident Evil
Yeah,
character. Yeah, yeah, they had a crazy amount of cast, like almost rivaling Super Smash Brothers in a way, in terms of a smash up. Now it's like anybody can be in a Super Smash Brothers game. Uh, they're they're
right.
they're not really leaving that closed off anymore. But at the time, Marvel vs. Capcom was a huge mashup of like, ooh, I could see Joe Valentine fighting against Ryu or
She would
fight.
summon zombies to do her bidding to
There you
help her
go.
out. That was so good. And then the rocket launcher, and then her super was the tyrant.
There you go.
One
I
of
knew I saw
one
the
of the
tyrant.
supers was the tyrant.
I remember seeing the tyrant there. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I know you mentioned it earlier, and I didn't really know what it was about, and I took some look into it, and I was like, yeah, I can get behind this. I would like release the license, give it out, and
Yep.
sell it. I'd buy it day one. I don't buy fighting games day one. Like it's right up there with racing games where I kind of like wait for those deals.
There
But
we go.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2, especially a physical release, I'd buy
Ooh,
that day one. I'd actually
that's
buy it and it make it happen. Like
that's
I don't
no
know
digital clips.
I don't know how many likes or retweets that Maximilian dude needs, but it needs to get to the attention. And there's already, you said there's a willing studio wanting to do that, right?
Yeah, digital Eclipse is, and they were actually known also for releasing the Mega Man Legacy collection. So they can do. They
Oh
also did
yeah,
the yep. They also did the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection. So they're known to do re-releases. So they could do this if they wanted to. So it's up to. It might be different now because now Disney absorbed Fox. So now the mutants are back. They Now the mutants are back in the Marvel storylines, so hey, if they can do it, I would say go for it. I would get it. I would get it immediately, and I'll jump into some matches with you, and let's relive those fighting glory days. The last thing we mentioned, the last thing that was talked about, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, was of course 2020 before the pandemic happened when Evo was going to happen. They were actually going to have a Marvel versus Capcom 2 exhibition match at Evo, where all the pros were gonna play, and like an 8-person just tournament of pros, not like an open tournament like what Evo and competitions usually are,
yeah.
but they were gonna have the 8 best players to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Oh my goodness! When they announced that, everyone was calling it money. Like it was like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 2020 like revival, and I bet that would have resurged them to want to re-release the game out of its digital prison or anything like that. But of course, again, COVID happened, and then that was put for a halt. But Marvel vs. Capcom 2, hashtag free MVC2, tweet that out to Digital Eclipse. Thank you, Maximilian, for making me aware of it, and it's a fighting game from childhood that I've loved since then, and if it gets a re-release, let's go. I'm going to find Michael B. Jordan. I'm going to play against that dude. Maybe.
On a final note that I want to discuss, just talking about this revival and wanting to bring something back. What's another game that you can't play on your current hardware? Mind you, PC will always be able to emulate and stuff like that. But what's a game that you're like, I wish this was playable on my PlayStation or my Xbox or Switch?
Or Switch. So right now, another game that I wish would get released. Excuse me, Nintendo, but can you please release Metroid Fusion or any other Metroid game from the past, not just Super Metroid? Because I've watched again Metroid Dread, the newest game that's coming out, but unofficially called Metroid 5, because it's finally a game continuing side-scrolling Metroid goodness.
And we don't have it playable anywhere. It's that missing link, I guess. In current hardware.
You gotta have a Game Boy Advance to play it, or an old DS.
Yeah.
You gotta have an old DS to play it. I've played Super Metroid because it got re-released. I played Metroid 1. Oh my goodness, old Nintendo days. Sometimes it's hard to go back to that far back original. Metroid 1 is very hard if you play the original Nintendo one.
Yeah.
But Super Metroid holds up so well. It's a timeless game that's going to go on. I also cannot play Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission unless I have to invest in the Advance, which unfortunately I don't have anymore. I have to invest in the Advance, but I just wish it came like in a compilation. I wish, guys, come on, you want to. You're releasing Metroid Dread, the newest Metroid game, which I love that trailer. But Metroid, you gotta
come
on
the 35th anniversary. Why is it?
Yes.
Why did Mario get one but not Metroid?
Because Metroid it's a beloved series, but it's not that beloved. It's not as Mario. Beloved. I know you know. You're like you're looking at Mario and Samus next to each other, and you're like, come on, give us Samus. Nah, we're gonna give the love to Mario again. He needs a 35th anniversary edition. Like we already have many Mario games.
For me, it'd be like probably Zelda collection and then Metroid collection. I can't get enough of Zelda, but I know Metroid needs that attention. It doesn't get that attention. We're finally getting a new entry after I don't know how many years, 16 years.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna put
a 2D Metroid.
A 2D Metroid game. I'm gonna put it there. It's been 19 years since we had another Metroid game, new Metroid game, because Zero Mission does not count because that's a remake of the first game. Yeah. So it's not a continuing numbered game.
Or Metroid Return of Samus. That was also
that doesn't count either.
A remake. Or
that was a remake of 2. If everyone here listening, if you want to get an action on those, play Zero Mission. Of course, it's on. It's not on any. Is it on any digital store, or is it only on Game Boy Advance that you have to play it?
For which one? Zero Mission?
Zero Mission and Fusion.
they you can actually buy them on the Wii U.
Oh,
But to
again, a
find a
console I
Wii
don't
U,
have.
yeah, to find a Wii, I
Yeah.
have mine, but I know I'm one of like 10 people that bought the Wii U. So
Oh, oh my gosh! So you have to have a Wii U. So say again, I'm sure I have to find it again.
you know what's
Make it
crazy though
easier, guys.
is that
What's
I
crazy?
actually have Metroid Fusion legally legit on my 3DS.
Ooh, wait a minute. Whoa, how do you have that?
So when Nintendo released the 3DS, they released it at $250,
Okay.
and it didn't release like with many games, and sales were tanking. Like literally, they were like not selling, and Nintendo was like, you know what, we have to do something drastic, and so they dropped the price to I believe $179.99. They dropped it by $70 within the year, within the first year. And like, imagine a console coming out, like $400, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta sell it for $320." Not even a year has passed, and they do that. So for those people who bought it day one or within that time frame of the first 7 months, they released this ambassador program, which entailed
Oh,
the people 10 GBA games and 10 NES games. Oh no, 10 NES games? I believe they were NES games, yeah. And 10 GBA games.
oh wow. So it was
And
kind of like a I'm sorry kind of detail, I think.
yeah, it was kind of like, hey, here's an apology. Here's
There you
a
go.
for paying, upfront $250. We're gonna give you these games. I didn't care for the NES, the
Yeah.
NES games, but the GBA games, and they said too, and they've kept their word ever since. They said these will never be sold on the 3DS eShop.
Oh, hold on to that GB. Hold on to that 3DS again.
And I have that 3DS with Metroid Fusion, Mario Kart, The Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, which those two are like the main ones that I wanted to keep. Like, that's the reason why I still have that. So for me, I'm able to play Metroid 1 through 4 on my GBA.
Oh, so good. I have
That's
to play
that's basically
one.
my portable Metroid, gaming device. But I do want that on the Switch. I'd rather have Metroid Prime on the Switch.
Nice. Oh, well, hopefully, whenever the heck Metroid Prime 4 is going to come out, please release the Metroid Prime trilogy as part of the Switch, Nintendo. You know it's going to sell like hotcakes. You know people want it. Do your pretend limited run like you did with Mario 3D All Stars. Do that. Do whatever you want. You know you're going to do it somehow. Like it'll work. It will still work.
Yeah. So
And there's definitely fans of 3D Metroids, 2D Metroids. Hey, everyone has their style that is preferred, but do Samus some more justice and get her out there more. Get her out there more in more games. And don't release another like, oh yes, we're gonna release another Metroid game. Federation Force. What is that? It's not it's not even a true Metroid game. Oh, we'll release another Metroid game. Metroid Pinball. What? Like why do I need this? But okay, nothing against people who love pinball, but it's just like I'm all like, but Metroid Pin, but you want Metroid to play Metroid.
okay.
But
Well, that's
so it's so good.
that's what we have this week. Um,
Yeah,
we got
man, that was
Metroid. We got some Marvel vs. Capcom. Some, what was it? Quackshot.
yes, Quackshot,
I'm gonna
and we
look up
got
Quackshot.
Aladdin.
I'm gonna look up
So good.
Quackshot after this and see what's up. See what Jesse's talking about.
Yes, you will enjoy it if you somehow find a digital version dug underneath somehow. Tell me, and I will get it in some way or form. Otherwise, you got to buy it off of Amazon, the cartridge itself.
Again, thank you everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. We had a
Everyone,
hiccup in
thank
the
you for
middle.
coming.
You'll see what happened. I don't know what happened to the recording, but I'm gonna be patching it up and see how a transition we can do. Let us know. on whether you like the format of, seeing some gameplay, or if you just really don't care. And that's cool too. If you don't care and you just like to listen to us banter and talk about all things gaming, let us know. But if you like to see some spice on your screen, let me know too. Let us know on which way to move forward with this. But everything's an experiment with this show, trying things out still, and perfecting every single time we get on these mics for you guys. And again, I've had fun. I know Jesse's been having fun talking old school games.
Lots of fun, good sir. Lots of fun. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. If you are, all of you are amazing. You guys are. Your feedback and your words are always great, always appreciated. Love you guys. I'm going to keep working on it. We're going to keep working on it. We're going to keep trying to make it better and better as possible, giving memories, giving news, and just a heck of a lot of fun to get in touch with you guys and working on this as best as possible to bring the lovely world of gaming to everyone.
Yes. So thank you again. We'll see you guys next week on the next episode of Boss Key Podcast, and we're out. Later, guys.
Have a good day, everybody. Have a good one. Stay safe.